Hello everyone, this is Orlando from A Collector's Dream. And today I want to talk about the Mayo Cut Plug cards from the 1800s. And back in those days, there were very few tobacco companies that were really producing cards. Other than the old Judge, as far as baseball, it was just basically the old Judge. And a couple other things, the Lone Jack, but they were pretty, other than the old Judge, everything else was pretty tough to find, pretty rare. But in 1895, Mayo came up with the N300s series, and it was really a complete set that was produced by the Mayo Tobacco Works Company of Richmond, Virginia. And these cards are a little bit bigger than the T206s. They're 1 5/8 by 2 7/8. And they're basically about a 1/4 inch longer, taller, and a 1/4 inch wider. And you can see that the pictures have black and white or sepia tone, actual, kind of photographs or pictures of these players. There's 40 different players in this set. 28 of them appear in uniform, and 12 are wearing either suits or street clothes or something like that. And there's a few variations, and one of the variations is what you're looking at right now is the Buck Ewing. There's two different Buck Ewings. One is with Cincinnati shirt, and this is the rare version. This is the one with the Cleveland shirt. So these are pretty real tough to come by. There's just a handful of most of these. Some of the big names, there'll be a lot more, but for example, this Buck Ewing, there's a total of 7 graded by PSA. And there's more from SGC, but there just aren't too many of them. Here's another example of one here, and these what I call are the original Black Beauties. You would think the 1971 tops are called the Black Beauties because of the black borders, and people would color these borders in, for the 71s, and they did the same thing with these cards, unfortunately. So this one is altered because it is a good color job there, but it has been kind of colored in a little bit. These borders are so tough to find in great condition. But and this is the back. The backs are all black. They use like a black cardboard. It looks like a black, all black there. So kind of neat. I think it may be the only card, or one of the few cards that have the black backgrounds. And this is Buck Ewing, of course, a Hall of Famer. And again, with the Cleveland shirt, it's a little bit rarer. The Cincinnati, there's about 15, and the Cleveland, there's about 7. The one that has the most graded in this set is the Cap Anson, because it is the biggest card in the set. And PSA is graded about a little over 30, let's see, 32, 33 cards of Cap Anson from this set. So they're tough to come by. This one's not in the greatest shape, of course. It's got creases, it's got a little paper loss down there, because they chip very easily. It's graded 2. And it's the 1895 Mayo Cut Plug. And what I like about these is just the photograph of the player. This has some tobacco there on his nose, but they came in a loose tobacco tin. So they were in there moving around and stuff, and just kind of, very, not like the tobacco cards that were put in packs with stiffeners. These didn't have any of that. They would just put it either in a kind of like a bag or a tin or a big tin or small tin of tobacco, loose tobacco. So this set really, is the first attainable set that you can put together from the 19th century, because again, it's only 48 cards. I think is the total on it. So it's not something that's impossible, but they're very tough to find. There are some cards that are, again, like this Buck Ewing, less than 10 out there. So it's a tough one. I mean, some of the bigger names, you'll find a little bit more. The Kid Nichols, there's about 23, 24 of those. And a few of the other big names are, pretty much all of the big names are here at the time. Hugh Duffy, you've got Dan Brothers, you got, of course, Cap Anson, a few other big name guys in the John Clarkson. And all of those, there's just, handful, But before they even produced the baseball series, they produced a football series. And the football series is exactly the same as the baseball series. And it's just called the N302, even though they were made before. And you can see, this is an 1894. This is another Hall of Famer, George 80. But again, there is no football back in those days. NFL, let me go say that. There was no NFL, there was only college. So he was a college football star, but he really was a star in tennis after that and became a tennis Hall of Famer, and he's in the Tennis Hall of Fame. But you see the differences between these two cards are not that much. Just, they're the exact same size. It's hard to tell here, but the exact same size cards, the same border, the same Mayo Cut Plug logo for chewing and smoking. The difference is that they put the name of the baseball players above the black line, and then in the football, they put the name of the football player below. So first, they started doing it this way, and then they moved it on this way. And they do put the positions on there, so you see Buck Ewing, right field. Give me a good look at those cards. And so this series, again, it's the football series, is the N302. And really the big difference with this is it's a smaller set. There's really 35 cards. But the key to this is that this is the first football card set ever produced. There is an older football card, which is the Beecher in 1888. That was the first football card produced. But the first football set are these 1894 Mayos. They're 35 cards. They're of Ivy League players. And this is the holy grail of the football cards right here, the anonymous card. So I'll share that and I'll talk a little bit more about that card, but it is part of the 1894 Mayo N302s. So 35 cards, they're Ivy League players. Mainly they're, Harvard, Yale, Princeton. So those are the schools that played at those times. Again, the same size, 1 5/8 by 2 7/8. And again, they do have the black back, just like the baseball, the black back, which I think is kind of cool. So what happened in that era, just like in the T206 with the Honus Wagner, was when they were producing these cards, there was a mistake. And most of these guys, like I said, they have the name here, but this did not have the name. They forgot to print it. So the story is they pulled it off the printing press, and that was it. They didn't print anymore. And that's why this card is really called the Honus Wagner of football. There's less than 10 that exist between all pop counts. From what I've seen, I think there's 8, because this card used to be in a PSA grade slab, and it was pulled out and re-slabbed in an SGC. So my guess is there's about 9, maybe 8 or 9 that exist of that. And John Dunlop, for many, many, many years, until the 1980s, it took over 100 years for someone to find out that this anonymous card was John Dunlop. John Dunlop was one of the top players in the time. He also went on to be one of the top coaches in college at the time. College, again, one of the main you know, I guess pioneers of football was John Dunlop. And in somewhere in the 1980s, they, after so much research, they realized that that face was one of the greatest college football players and coaches ever. And nobody knew that because the name was not on the printed on the card. But now we know who it is. And so it's the N302 anonymous card. It's John Dunlop of Harvard. I'll give you a good look at that. Again, that's, you know, this one they did a terrible job of coloring in the borders. And that's why I received an authentic grade. It has a crease here, but this is really, and I've seen most of the examples, the highest graded is a 3. And this one looks a lot better than that 3. This one probably, in my opinion, it's one of the best examples in the world. Even though it has that crease, even though it's been colored in, the picture, the image is really just fantastic. And anyway, if you want to know a little bit more about that, I've done some videos about it, or just read up on the anonymous card. One of the rarest, it is the rarest and most desirable pre-war football card in the business. So check it out. But anyway, these are the Mayos. The baseball Mayos in 1895 and the football Mayos came a year earlier in 1894. If you want to see the entire set of the 1894 Mayos except the anonymous, check out the video that I did on Strongsville with Don. Don has one of the best collections, football collections in the world. He's got virtually, well, he's got, I think, every single card, you know, from the 19th century and beyond, most of them beyond. Again, he's one of the most prolific and extensive football collection. I showed his entire 1894 Mayo set in one of my Strongsville videos because we met up there. But the one card he does not have is the Dunlop. I did sell him my Beecher card, and you know, he was thrilled with that. I'm so thrilled that he has it. But anyway, just wanted to share these with you. Some pretty rare cards from the 19th century, the Mayo Cut Plugs. Thanks for watching, guys. Have an awesome, awesome day. This is Orlando from A Collector's Dream, and I'll catch you on the next one.